HMC Daily News with your host, Penelope Barrett.
Hello, and welcome to our viewers joining us today. I'm Penelope Barrett for HMC Daily News. Today's top story is a new MEAC opinion. We'll discuss what this means for Florida mediators statewide. An opinion was requested about what happens to a mediator's unpaid invoice if one party goes into bankruptcy. I mediated a case and then issued invoices to the two parties. My invoices included the names of the parties, the court's case number, the date of the mediation, a general description of the services provided, time spent, hourly rate, and amount owed. A typical description of services might include analyze plaintiff's pre-mediation statement and serve as a neutral at mediation, together with the time spent for each task. Because each party bore responsibility for paying 1/2 of my total fee, after showing the total fee, invoices included a statement concerning the joint responsibility. For example, plaintiff's invoice stated defendant to pay 1/2. They added, one of the parties to the mediation declared bankruptcy before paying my invoice. The mediator then got to the heart of the matter by asking, may I file a proof of claim in the bankruptcy proceeding and append my invoice to the proof of claim without violating the mediation privilege? The mediator referenced the following authorities: Florida statutes 44.403 and 405, which covers mediation confidentiality. Florida rules for certified and court-appointed mediators 10.360 and 10.910. Also, prior MEAC Opinion 2017-020. MEAC Committee Chair Gladys Stagman wrote the official opinion on this matter. In summary, the mediator may file a proof of claim in a bankruptcy proceeding and include the mediation invoice as an exhibit without violating the mediation privilege, as long as the mediator does not disclose any confidential mediation communication. The MEAC opinion then explains in detail why this conduct might be allowed by discussing the rules presented by the mediator. To talk about this further, we're turning to our confidentiality expert, Jane Craig. Jane, can you tell us a bit more about the rules contained in this opinion?
Yes, Penelope. Why don't we break this down a bit further for the viewers at home?
That's a good idea. We are covering multiple issues here.
First, let's address Florida rules for certified and court-appointed mediators, Rule 10.910, discussed at the top of the opinion. Under this rule, the Advisory Council is authorized to issue written advisory opinions only to the mediators subject to these rules. The mediators subject to the Florida rules for certified and court-appointed mediators are Supreme Court certified mediators within the state of Florida. The Advisory Council does not give legal advice or establish best practices for mediators.
It seems that MEAC is laying the foundation to their opinion with the FRCCAM rules this time. Is that correct?
Yes, Penelope. First, the Advisory Council lays the foundation to give an opinion on the matter. Then the Advisory Council discusses the fact scenario presented by the mediator. Next, the Advisory Council tackles the issue if the mediator is allowed to file a proof of claim at all in the bankruptcy proceeding without violating ethical standards. Here they rely on both the Florida statutes and the rules mentioned prior. They state that while they cannot provide best practices for mediators, they believe that the mediator may file a proof of claim in the bankruptcy proceeding and include the mediation invoice as an exhibit, without violating the ethical standards in the Florida rules for certified and court-appointed mediators, as long as the mediator does not disclose any confidential mediation communication.
That's interesting. I was wondering how mediators would successfully get their invoices paid in these types of situations.
Yes, it is unfortunate that the party had to file for bankruptcy, but it is nice that there is some recourse for the mediator to get paid for their services. The advisory council continues their opinion by stating that when a mediator finds themselves in a similar situation, the mediator may seek payment in any lawful manner, including filing a proof of claim in a bankruptcy proceeding.
And this would be considered a lawful manner to collect those fees?
Yes, this would be considered a lawful manner. They also cited a prior opinion, 2017-020, to support this recent advice. The advisory council then cautions the mediator not to disclose any confidential information in the proof of claim, because that might violate Florida Statute 44.405 and Rule 10.360.
I am assuming since MEAC is allowing this mediator to submit a proof of claim, they did not disclose any confidential information in their invoice.
Correct. The advisory council stated that this particular mediator is in the clear, because the mediator's invoices do not appear to contain any oral or written statement or nonverbal conduct intended to make an assertion by or to a mediation participant made during the course of a mediation, or prior to mediation if made in furtherance of a mediation.
I hope all mediators who find themselves in similar situations read the rules very carefully when considering any bankruptcy filings.
Me too.
Thank you for your insights, Jane. As a reminder, MEAC has the power to provide opinions subject to Rule 10.910. MEAC is not authorized to give legal advice or establish best practices for mediators. Each opinion is based on the specific facts of the scenario presented. If you have a question for MEAC, please send your question to Florida Dispute Resolution Center, Supreme Court Building, 500 South Duval Street, Tallahassee, Florida 32399. You may also email MEAC at the email shown on your screen. MEAC asks that you give details and include any rules you think are related to your question. Written opinions may take up to 120 days and are posted on the DRC's website. MEAC only considers written questions related to the Florida certified and court-appointed mediators who are subject to the rules. You can find MEAC opinions on the Florida Court's website. That was HMC Daily News. I'm Penelope Barrett. Thank you for watching. Good night.